Okay, so this is a social media post where they're talking about CAR T cell therapy for autoimmune conditions. Let's talk about it. What is CAR T cell therapy? CAR T cell therapy is a newer, novel way of treating cancer, where essentially you take a person's blood, you then isolate their T cells, which is a part of the immune system. You then engineer those T cells to have a receptor on their surface that specifically targets the cancer cells. So important because, number one, the more targeted your treatment can be for something like cancer, the less side effects in theory you should have. In addition, cancer cells can sometimes be able to hide themselves or disguise themselves, and having better targeting is key in order to treat that condition. So CAR T cell therapy is approved for certain types of lymphomas and leukemias and is being tested for other types of cancers as well. The way medicine works is that when something works in one modality, physicians, researchers will say, well, what about other uses for it? So researchers have been looking at using CAR T cell therapy for treating autoimmune conditions. They've looked at conditions such as lupus, scleroderma, Sjögren's, rheumatoid arthritis, myositis, even type 1 diabetes, myasthenia gravis, and multiple sclerosis. The early results are very interesting and encouraging, showing that people may be able to get off their traditional medications for even up to a year or longer in a very low disease activity status. That is exciting and has created a lot of excitement in the physician community and is starting to grow in the general public as well. Excitement is important when it comes to biomedical research because patients need hope to know that there's better options coming down the road for their conditions. Physicians really enjoy exciting new stuff to help patients out with as well. And frankly, clinical research, biomedical research is hard. And I think seeing outstanding results and excitement that creates is helpful to kind of help push that process along because people want to feel motivated that they're doing good work as well. Research is hard because sometimes something that works in one sphere doesn't actually work as well when you test it in something else. So early results are good. Now some caveats. Number one, these are early results. These are early trials. Most of these trials are case series, meaning they're looking at a group of patients, or they're very early trials where they haven't been really fine-tuned for eventual approval by the FDA, or that they're really ready medically to be rolled out to more patients. Number two, there are some unique side effects to CAR T cell therapy. Sometimes the body can react badly to it. And so that is something that we have to see, how do autoimmune patients react to it in comparison to cancer patients. Always need to kind of balance the difference between effectiveness and side effects. Next, in this particular social media post, they use the word cure. And we have to be careful with how we're talking about that with autoimmune patients. In cancer, you're talking about one cell line, that is the problem, and targeting that cell line is generally how you can put someone into remission or cure their condition. In autoimmune conditions, it is more complicated. In an autoimmune condition, your immune system, which is normally meant to protect you against viruses and bacteria, is now miscommunicating and now attacking itself. It's not one cell line that's the problem. It's a more multiple issues and variables that are going on. It's a lot of miscommunication as opposed to just one cell that is problematic. So in autoimmune conditions, we tend to be cautious about using the word cure because there's not a quick on and off switch for the immune system. Rather, we talk about things like someone's in clinical remission. That means that they're off their traditional medication for some time and they're not flaring up. or we talk about low disease activity status, which means that their condition, which was previously very active, is now not flaring, is now minimally active, and they're doing well. So cure, you have to be careful with that term. Now, some people have said, look, maybe what's happening here is because you've now triggered your immune system to target specific cells that may be causing a problem. And in this case, specifically B cells, CD19 B cells, that you may be putting your immune system into a longer term reset, meaning you have significantly affected one particular cell line that is important in autoimmune conditions. Not the only one, but an important one. And that's why people are being put into a long-term reset. That's exciting. Putting people into a longer-term low disease activity status is a very good goal. Keep in mind that we also now compare any newer treatment for autoimmune conditions to what else is already on the market. In the past, with autoimmune conditions, you might say, look, if you have a 20% improvement, great, maybe that's worthwhile considering. Now we look at, look, do you have a 70%, 90% improvement for our average patient? Then we start considering whether something is worthwhile using. We need to keep that high level, that high threshold, and I think CAR T-cell therapy could have that as well. The other thing to know about CAR T-cell therapy is that this is something that right now needs to be done in a tertiary hospital care center. So it's not going to be offered by many places to begin with. And that may not be convenient for patients to get their care in only tertiary care hospitals. In addition, understand the cost is enormous. The cost for CAR T-cell therapy currently is about $400,000 to $500,000 per treatment. Compare that to some of the traditional biologic treatments that are utilized for autoimmune conditions, where it'll be about $30,000 to $60,000 per year. You know, it is a big difference. And then the last part about this is anytime there's new treatments that come online, we always need to balance, okay, where do we slot this into our algorithm for treatment? Meaning, if we're using this for, let's say, scleroderma patients, well, we don't really have we don't have any approved treatments that are specific for scleroderma. We borrow from other conditions. Well, if this works well, okay, like maybe we consider this in people that have moderate level scleroderma, not just severe scleroderma, but people who are at higher risk for progressing. Maybe we don't utilize it for people who have milder disease because maybe the risks are not worth it. On the other hand, maybe for other conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, psoriasis, maybe this is utilized for those folks who have really, really difficult to treat conditions, as opposed to folks who are responding or can respond well to more typical treatments that we have on the market right now. So figuring out where this will fit in the algorithm will be interesting and exciting. Bottom line, exciting new developments in autoimmune conditions, CAR T-cell therapy. I'm excited to see where this plays out over the next couple of years. And realistically, that is our time frame to see how well and who this will be appropriate for. I'm excited for the next 10 to 20 years of autoimmune treatments because we're beginning to find tie-ins and ways of treating autoimmune conditions that go beyond just suppressing the immune system. Whether it's treating metabolic health issues, novel treatments like CAR T-cell therapy, which is still immunosuppressive, but there'll be progressively more and more interesting things that will help to benefit our patients and people living with these conditions chronically.